It's your brother Rodnetta. I just been sitting here thinking, man, I want to come to the people about some of the reasons that we can't rise above the condition that we in. Now, one thing that I want to go and highlight is what one of our enemies said, and this is the guy who's over the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, and in his memorandum he said that we must prevent the rise of another black messiah. Now, there are so many ways that we can look into that statement, but we have to look at it objectively and understand what it is that he's saying and what type of conditions that he has to create to do so. Now, mind you, I've been doing some research on cloning, and one of the things about cloning that I found out is that scientifically, they can clone anybody that has ever existed, even the ancestors, which who I'm talking about are those that are in the tombs. You know, all of our prolific ancestors that have transitioned and have left their cots, which are their bodies, their physical bodies, in the tombs. And, you know, for what reason, there are so many reasons we can speculate why they chose to mummify. And it could have possibly been to preserve their DNA because they were practicing certain types of techniques that would have some relativity to cloning. But in any case, the procedure quickly is all they need is one cell. They can take a cell from your body, and they can take an egg from another body, a female body, and destroy all the genetic material in it and insert your cell in that egg and then reimplant it back into the uterus, and there you have a clone, right? Now, these particular clones, if I'm gonna I'm thinking I don't think they have souls because they use a spark. They don't use the sperm. They use a spark because you can bring life with just a spark of electricity, which is information, which is how they get the egg in the cell to germinate. But in any case, after this, they to speed up the growth process, they use I think the hormone from the pineal gland, secretion or something, melanin or something, to increase the growth process. Now, after the fact, after the clone has been born, if you would, you know, they have to, in order to bring that person and or that clone to the degree to what it was, or the manifestation of all the gifts that that person had in the past, they would have to place that person and or their clone in an environmental situation that it was in at the time of its natural existence. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going somewhere with this, so pay close attention. All right, so once they do that and they create that environment for that clone, which is by way of adoption into a specific family that has all of the necessary components monetarily, psychologically, emotionally, you know, economically, all across the board, every facet of life to make sure that this person's gifts are cultivated by that environment, and in turn it will become the same. It's already the same person, but it will manifest all of the attributes that it had before. Now, let's go back to preventing the rise of another black messiah. See, black people have been placed in some of the most detrimental environments and situations known to man. You know, we've already been through 475 years of slavery. So within those conditions, you have a people who are oppressed. See, now for J. Edgar Hoover to be able to make that quote, "We need to prevent a rise from another black messiah," he has to have scientific information to be able to make that quote. Now you got to understand that these people who are in positions of power, they also are advised by their scientific branch. The people, the scientists who come to them about us, about all the things that they've studied, the things that they've learned about life and how life perpetuates itself. So he knew, and they know, that they have to create a detrimental environment. And in turn, whatever being, which are our ancestors, the spirits that are to reincarnate amongst us and through our genome and through our gene pool over a course and period of time, when we reincarnate, if we reincarnate in those environments that are detriment, you literally have kings and queens who have walked the earth. You literally have freedom fighters. You literally have some of those great rulers, those great Sutan kings, those warrior kings and queens who existed thousands of years ago that are reborn. You can look at some of our people and put them next to the bust of those people and see that they're an identical match. You see what I'm saying? And in most cases, if we had the scientific knowledge and the technology to check the DNA, we would be able to prove that this person is that person. You see what I'm saying? So what they have done is put us in these situations to where those characteristics will never be cultivated so that that person in that environment can become what they are and who they are in totality. You see what I'm saying? So us as a people being in these situations under these circumstances, coming out of 400 years of slavery, being overwhelmed with all types of brutality, suppresses the DNA. See what I'm saying? Which is where the Akashic record is, which is where the information lies that causes you to be who and what you are. You see what I'm saying? So they are preventing the rise due to this knowledge, due to this understanding. You see what I'm saying? To keep us in perpetual detriment. You see what I'm saying? Our environments are destroyed. They look like horrific places to live. You have all types of crime, all types of drugs and alcohol and sex and prostitution and every vice known to man in our environment. So how in the world can one who lived thousands of years ago, who has been reincarnated in one of us through our children, through our offspring, rise as a Messiah? You see what I'm saying? They know that 9 times out of 10, it will not happen. And then you have these factions of these organizations that rise, like the Black Panther Party. You have the Marcus Garvey movement. You have the Nation of Islam, and these particular organizations changed and molded and shaped and refurbished parts of our environments to where some of those people, some of those great men and women who have been reincarnated and who have been reborn, these organizations created environmental situations for those Akashic records that lie in our DNA to be cultivated. And then you have a Malcolm X. Then you have a Marcus Garvey. Then you have a who else? Who else can we have a what's that brother name? Khalid Muhammad. You know, you have all these different freedom fighters who rise due to the change of environment that is geared toward the activation of the DNA that's in those particular individuals that has possibly been in there for hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, because black people, we don't have a date of existence. It's to most scholars, most black scholars, black people have always existed on this planet and in this third dimension, you know. But us as a people, man, we have so much inside of us that they know, and we look out and we look around and we're like, why do we look out? Why are we in such horrific situations? Why are all these things happening? Because they realize scientifically that if they don't keep us oppressed, then that Mashiach will rise. It's an innate fact. It's a situation that is inevitable. So these things have to take place against us in order that Messiah not rise. So in closing, you know, our families, our homes are bombarded with all types of negative inspiration. You know, we watch things on television. We see things on the internet. We're addicted to gossip. We're addicted to money. We're addicted to clothes and sex and all these minuscule things that have no bearings on rising above the condition that we're in. And so we become assistants in our perpetual degradation. You know, we don't get along with each other. They've literally turned the Savior against the one who is to be saved. What do I mean by that? See, the blueprint of our way of life is encoded in our spiritual system, in our spiritual information that our ancestors left for us. And the blueprint of a family started with, I think it's the first Trinity, Amun, Mut, and Kansu. And then the next one was Asar, Aset, and Haru. Okay, we all know the stories of what happened. So Haru, being born, became the Savior, which is the seed of the Father. And the Savior is the son of the mother. So the woman is to be saved because she is the perpetuator of life through the institution of cohabitation and marriage between her and her man or her husband. But if you somehow come in between and cause division between the two who are to bring forth the man-child who is to be and become the institution of salvation and the symbol and instrument of salvation, if you turn them two against each other, then you by default destroy the Savior. So that child will never become what it was born to be, geared toward the situation and circumstance, right? So, you know, these are just some things that I had on my mind. I'm going to upload this video and give you guys an opportunity to respond and give your thoughts and give some insight and even ask questions, because we're going to be on the road bringing forth this information to our people so that we can try to slowly but surely, step by step, overcome the situation that we're in. Peace, family.